Looks like old Uncle Joe was out there doing some peaceful protesting of his own. He was going into enemy territory out there in Virginia, and yeah, he was greeted with some of the locals telling him, "Let's go, Brandon," sharing some very, very hilarious signs with them as well. Biden sucks, don't sniff me, mandate medical freedom, as well as build crack better. If you guys don't know about that, I think that's Saturday or maybe Sunday. More on that very shortly. But yeah, once again, okay, I'd love to talk about all this stuff, and I'd love to cover Biden a little bit more in depth. But realistically, he hemorrhages viewers whenever I put him in the fucking thumbnail or the title. Methinks, based on the performance on other channels, YouTube doesn't like anybody discriminating against the authority that's out there. But again, as much as I care about the record high inflation, highest it's been since 1982, 8 years before I was born, some 40 fucking years ago. The fact that he keeps failing at literally everything just gets monotonous to just call him out as being an ultimate loser, okay? Yeah, I could just run the same fucking story over and over and over again. Old man shambles out to podium on Tuesday, says something stupid, falls upstairs, and then has a long weekend. Woo, rinse, repeat. Continue until 2024 when he has to fucking get hopped up on whatever dope he was on and debate the orange man a couple more times. Cool, whatever. Because yeah, most Americans also think that he's literally done nothing in office. He's not exciting. He's embarrassing. He's unintentionally hilarious, but outside of that, there's nothing really to go on. If you listen to him, he thinks he's doing a great job, or at least his handlers are telling him that he's doing a great job. But all you need to do is just read the reports, take a look at the economic performance, take a look at the tone and tenor of the country to realize that this man who campaigned as a Democrat, but he was gonna rule as a American president, isn't doing any of that. Obviously not. So yeah, the Democrats are about as popular as crib death right now, but well, instead of trying to seize on this, just like conservatives up in Canada, the Republican Party, I don't fucking know what they're doing right now. Jesus Christ. At least is making it very obvious, and this is going to be the theme for this story right here. We're going to go on safari. We're going to go rhino hunting. You like that? How about that? Because what are the Democrats actually banging the drum about right now? They can't tout any of their successes in the economy, at the border, at crime reduction, at passing bills for spending through the House or the Senate. They can't tout anything other than most popular president of all time. Don't question it, okay? It's just like the science. It's forever and it's eternal. But no, they can tell you that January 6th was just like 9/11, Pearl Harbor, and the Hiroshima and Nagasaki all rolled into one. It was so dangerous and divisive and whatever the fuck else. But you got that stupid, retarded committee out there again, and yeah, no, they keep subpoenaing the records to see what Trump was doing. And again, here's their fucking evidence. January 6th committee says White House logs have no records of calls to or from Trump during the Capitol riot. So, okay, Trump didn't make any calls during the Capitol riot. So what does that mean? It's clearly there's gaps in the information. They need to know who the president was calling. Well, there's no evidence of him making fucking phone calls. Okay, there's no evidence of him doing anything that you're trying to accuse him of. So again, what's their defense on this one? Clearly, it's a conspiracy. Orange Man had to do something. Oh, God. If this wasn't enough of a nut punch to begin with, it's like, guys, okay, January 6th, it made for a great photo op, okay? You ended up shooting a protester, you successfully covered it up, okay? The more evidence that comes out on that, the more it just continues to fall on deaf ears. Yeah, a whole bunch of people seem to think and have the evidence to back it up, unlike you guys, that Ashley Babbitt was trying to calm down the rioters, trying to calm down the protesters, trying to escape from a deadly situation before she got one between the eyes. But yeah, we'll never figure out anything that goes on that. And at least if we do, it'll be when I'm long gone and fucking forgotten from any of these platforms anyways, once all of the Freedom of Information Acts and all of the declassified information from that day actually becomes publicly available. But I don't know why this is even still a thing. It's just another huge waste of taxpayer dollars. But remember, it's one of these rare bipartisan efforts because Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are sitting down there on the panel and they're super serious about being Republicans. That's why Adam Kinzinger's not running again for another term in the House. And Liz Cheney, God love her, she's down there. And if you take a look at what her prospects are for winning re-election, I think Joe Biden has a better opportunity to make it to 90, okay, and seek a third term in the White House than she does for getting reelected, okay? She's probably going to get a 4th place finish in the primaries, and those ought to be coming up here in a couple of months' time. But instead of going to try to rehabilitate her image, okay, in a blood red Wisconsin, Wyoming, where she carpetbagged to. No, in order to reinstitute her as I don't know. Do you run as being a moderate Republican? It's like, look at Trump, he was bad man, but I got a different message. But I'm still a Republican. I'm still like a classic Republican. Like I don't know. You remember my father? He was vice president. Oh wait, fuck. He wasn't that popular anyways, even with Republicans towards the end. But no, I hold traditional conservative values. No, instead of doing that, what are you doing? And remember, she's running again. Okay, Liz Cheney snubs voters to mingle with reporters instead, calling constituents crazies. Yeah, that'll win you votes there, Liz. Good fucking job, you poodle-headed cunt. Endangered Wyoming Republican Liz Cheney chose to mingle with reporters and media executives over attending an annual grassroots event last weekend during a rare appearance in her home state. They were literally there waiting for your appearance, and what did you decide to do? I don't know, hop on some kind of a fucking local news outlet? What a tard. Where's Liz Cheney, the Wyoming Republicans' exile from Wyoming Republicans? The New York Times headlined. Okay, now listen. I don't know if you think that you can somehow forge an alliance with the Democrats. And listen, if you're going to try to flip that seat blue to become a Democrat because you think you have such great name recognition, I don't know who's fucking gassing you up there, stupid, but that shit ain't going to be fucking happening, okay? Like, Kinzinger runs in Illinois, and if you flip to Democrat, well, outside of Chicago and the Springfield areas, the entire state of Illinois is very, very red, and Kinzinger might have had an opportunity if he would have just, accepted a seat on the other side of the aisle. He might have had an opportunity to flip that, but Wyoming's like a plus 30 Republican area, so I don't know who you're trying to placate here, stupid, okay? Nobody likes a traitor, okay? Like, you effectively burn your bridges when you flip on your base, okay? And you can only do that once. So I don't know if you're just trying to martyr yourself for a cause that doesn't exist or what, but Ms. Cheney hasn't appeared at a state Republican Party function in more than 2 years, longer than her previous okay, whatever, and hasn't been at an in-person event for any of the party's 23 county chapters since 2020, while Republicans held a major prom-themed fundraiser in southwest Wyoming Saturday, the biggest night of the year for the area's Republicans. Cheney was in the state capital of Cheyenne at the inaugural gathering of Wyoming Press Association. Oh, okay. So she was there. She just couldn't be seen mingling with those GOP types. Oh, wait, what does my designation have at the end of my name? Fuck. Local constituents made it clear to the Federalists last fall that their at-large congresswoman visits anywhere beyond the northwest region of the state, referred to as California portion of Wyoming, was a rare sighting to begin with. She now faces a competitive primary challenger from a Trump-endorsed opponent, land use attorney Harriet Hageman, local of Cheyenne. Yeah, she's going to fail, and nobody's going to cry over here. The fact of the matter is, House Republicans at the federal level, at least, because she's already been sanctioned by the state GOP party. That was, oh my gosh, I think that was at the beginning of 2021. She was one of the first ones to receive official censorship. Censor, S-E-N-S-U-R, not like censorship, like you're not allowed to speak. She was censored by her political party in the state of Wyoming, and then it happened again, her and Kinzinger, for being a part of that retarded January 6th panel, by the way. And then that kind of leads us to our current story here, where you got Mitch McConnell coming out decries the RNC censure of Cheney and Kinzinger and calls January 6th a violent insurrection. He did the exact same thing after Trump was not convicted. I don't know the proper terminology. After that second failed impeachment attempt, failed, obviously. McConnell's speech afterwards. He condemned Trump, and then also, I'm pretty sure he called it a violent insurrection. He at least called it an insurrection, whatever the fucking turtle man had to say. But again, he's just kind of holding on until his home state of Kentucky, by the way, because this is Mitch McConnell's escape plan, because he's old as fuck, by the way. And I know he just got elected in 2020, but that's nice. All of those campaign fundraisers, do you actually think that went entirely to the campaign, or do you think that he was just trying to fucking set up a golden parachute for himself? Anyways, no. There's this one pesky thing that's just stopping him from retiring, and that's the governorship of California. It's held by a pesky Democrat right now, and polling, and of course, this is what all these fucking establishment types run on at this point. That's what your ruling class, both sides of the border here. Don't think that that's an exclusively an American thing. No, these elite bureaucrat types, they all run exclusively on polling, and it looks like there's a good chance of the governorship flipping to a Republican in his home state. Now, why does that matter? Okay, well, if he retires, he gets to handpick his successor through the puppet that would be the governor in Kentucky. So he's waiting until after the midterms. After that seat gets flipped Republican, theoretically, and then he can retire by just having his proxy sit and hold his seat. So right now he can say literally anything because he's not up again for election until 2026 when he will be... he's just about, if not 80. So he's not making it through his final term. He just got to fundraise a whole lot of money. And oh, it would have been nice for just one more kick at that Senate majority cat, but shit didn't fucking work out that way. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell on Tuesday decried the Republican National Committee's decision to censure Cheney and Kissinger for their roles in the Democrat-dominated January 6th committee. Well, to be fair, okay, they'd also censure other Republicans that were on that committee, but those are the only two. The resolution censoring Cheney and Kissinger, the RNC, said in the January 6th commission on which they serve are the only two GOP members. Oh, shucks, there we go. Has shown a disregard for minority rights, traditional checks and balances, due process, and adherence to the precedent and rule of the U.S. House, and seems intent on advancing a political agenda to buoy the Democrat Party's bleak prospects of the upcoming midterm election. That must be the only issue that the Democrats could be seen to be winning on, because they keep on subpoenaing people with big names. Like I think Dr. Peter Navarro just got subpoenaed. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, Trump's been subpoenaed. Oh, the Roger Stone, the Steve Bannon, you know all those names, right? They're all bad, and we can just, slap a subpoena, and a regular person doesn't know what a subpoena is, but that seems legal, and that seems bad, and that seems like they know something, so maybe that pulls well, because nothing else does, so... The fact that the Republicans, theoretically, just a name though, Republicans in name only, ergo, the fact that they're on those committees and don't realize that is the blatant power grab that it is, or just even remotely putting a check on those panels, led the RNC to ask a very important question. If you're not going to act like a Republican, why should we be funding you like a Republican? Because we got plenty other rhinos, so we can go ahead and help out if you guys would just fuck off. That'd be great. Representatives Cheney and Kissinger's purport to the members of the Republican Party, or report to be members of the Republican Party, the RNC said, but Representatives Cheney and Kissinger are participating in Democrat-led prosecution of ordinary citizens engaged in legitimate political discourse and both utilizing their past professed political affiliation to mask Democratic abuse of prosecutorial power for partisan purposes. Fair enough. So what did McConnell have to say on this one? Oh, the January 6th Stop the Steal rally was a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power after a legitimately certified election from one administration toward the next. No, they were just asking some questions and it wasn't certified yet, but anyways, that's fine. The issue is whether or not the RNC should be sort of signaling out members of our party who may have different views than the majority. That's not the job of the RNC. No, but they're allowed to tell you who and which candidates and which elected members represent to be Republicans. So I don't know if that's like a little bit of shade being thrown, because I don't like the RNC anyways, because it's run by a Romney. But Is that kind of like a tacit endorsement anyways? But whatever. McConnell has claimed that the January 6th rally constituted a violent insurrection is a controversial one. Yeah, because normally violent and insurrection, requires some violence or some insurrection. Whatever. Though practically every GOP lawmaker has decried the violence that occurred during a rally. Yeah, it's easier to just list the people who haven't at this point. Now, practically many GOP lawmakers have also noted the January 6th Commission has found scant evidence that what happened that day was a part of a larger effort to overthrow the United States government, because there isn't any. Several Republicans have argued that the breakdown of order can be attributed to the part of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's decision not to stand the National Guardsmen in advance of the rally, despite repeated requests to do so by former U.S. Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sunt. Yeah, but we won't get any of those questions because this is all about Orange Man. But Mitch McConnell taking the side of the party. Okay, like the science, there's the party, and you guys know what we're talking about. The big uniparty, the big group of people where it's a big party and you ain't in it. Well, somebody else that I've been railing against for a very long time has thrown his hat into the ring, because of course he did. Kevin McCarthy calls January 6th a violent insurrection. GOP war deepens after Trump attacked Mitch McConnell for calling it an insurrection. No, he just referred Mitch McConnell to a dictionary and the definition of insurrection. But now you got House Leader Kevin McCarthy, who is just a bitch, just a fucking silver-haired cuck, has conceded that January 6th was a violent insurrection. Conceded what? Outright lied? Is that what we're using? Daily Mail? Emily Gooden, senior U.S. political reporter. Oh, okay. Yeah, some bitch. That makes sense. See, it's kind of pick and choose when it comes to the authors of these articles, whether or not they're fair and actually honest, but whatever. Saying that he agreed with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell's description of that day. No one would disagree with that. Hi, I don't know. I just seen what happened there and followed the aftermath pretty closely, but whatever. Told reporters on Capitol Hill on Wednesday, oh, well, he was speaking to the media, so of course they all believe that all of that went, that they're still washing the blood off the steps, obviously. His clarification comes after McCarthy was mocked by Democrats for walking away from an ABC News reporter who was asking him about the Republican National Committee censure of Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney for serving on the committee investigating the insurrection. No, for not upholding their responsibility for being in opposition, or at least a check on any of the prosecutorial imbalance, if you would have read that. But whatever. The GOP leader was caught on camera walking away from a reporter who was trying to question him in the halls of the Capitol, probably being just an incessant cunt about it. But McCarthy later talked to NBC News, I see, and said anyone who broke into the Capitol on January 6th was not taking part in a legitimate political discourse. But what if they were let in? I'm just asking. Theoretically, let's just say that. Let's just workshop that a little bit, shall we? He also said that he didn't think censure of Cheney and Kinzinger, the two Republicans serving on the panel, was about that. I think anybody, we all know this, who entered the building that rioted is not legitimate political discourse. See, maybe they selected some quotes out of context, okay? If you rioted, that is not legitimate political discourse, okay? That is fair. That is fair. But I don't think that's what the RNC was talking about when he talked to them. McCarthy suggested that legitimate discourse referred to alternative electors whom the House Select Committee investigated. The January 6th riot was subpoenaed, even though he said they were in Florida during the riot. Yeah, just... my definition of legitimate discourse is being completely and utterly ineffective thousands of miles away. That'd be great. Asked whether he agreed with the decision to censure Kinzinger and Cheney, McCarthy said, I think there's a reason why Adam is not running again. Yeah, because he's a bitch. I think there's a reason why, at the end of the day, Liz would have a hard time winning here if she runs, and I don't think she runs. She seems to think that she's going to. Kinzinger's not seeking re-election, but Cheney is. She outraised her GOP primary opponent, who is backed by former President Donald Trump. We'll wait for that election to finish. Cheney, however, has support of other top Republicans. Let's see who they are. Including George W. Bush, about as popular as cancer, Paul Ryan, don't make me laugh, and Mitt Romney. Aw, mittens. So again, when the Democrats are at the weakest, okay, at least in political circles, and at least accepted by the people, and They're at their absolute worst. The fucking Republicans can't get out of their way. But you know who at least realizes it? Top Democrats. Democrat warns Biden midterm disaster is looming. Top senator claims party is toxic in middle America and needs to show up. And Bernie Sanders says, "We aren't caring about the needs of the American people. Let me tell you about the glories of socialized medicine." Shut up. Montana Senator John Tester, who's very, very nervous about losing his spot, warned the rest of the caucus that large swaths of rural and middle America see Democrats as in a toxic light. No shit. Meanwhile, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders conceded on Wednesday night that the Democrats are not doing a good job caring to the needs of the American people, like people who need combs and brushes. In a statement reacting to the U.S. inflation rate hitting a record 40-year high on Thursday, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who's also recently supported the re-election campaign of Lisa Murkowski in Alaska. So any of those brainlets out there saying, "Oh, Joe Manchin would fit in so great in the Republican Party," yeah, alongside Murkowski and Romney and Collins and the rest of these fucking worthless rhinos. So you stay over there and just be a conflicted Democrat, and that's fine. You'll lose your spot one day. But who can disagree with that assessment? Okay, the people in the political know for the past, I would say maybe since at least 2012, have seen the Democrats, or at least know that the Democrats are the party of the coastal elites, okay? They don't care about anything that happens for those hillbillies in the middle of the country, and the senator from Montana knows that especially deeply. I know that was a grammatical nightmare, but really, I'm running out of superlatives to call the fucking Democrats completely and utterly out of touch at this point. But these divisions have only deepened further. All you need to do is just take a look at the different mandates that are dropping in other places, okay? The one specifically to the COOF, because we've been talking about that a lot lately. It all started with those goddamn dirty Republican states in places like Florida, which not that long ago was a toss-up purple state, but it's becoming more and more Republican because, hey, guess what? This whole freedom thing that Republicans should be unabashedly running on, you know, the central concept of Trumpism, populism, you know, that whole thing there. Why Ron DeSantis is oh so popular, and even Kristi Noem for the hang-ups I have with her. Those successes that happen up there, they stayed away from mandates. And then now you take a look at the different ones that are dropping. What states are left? Like Rhode Island, Hawaii, California, for the most part, they're clinging to their mandates. All of these deep blue places, they don't listen to their constituents. They just listen to the people in the cities. And that's at least what Tester's talking about. He's saying that, hey, guess what? The Democrats were founded as being the party of the working class, and the guys who were speaking up for the little guy, but now we've completely lost sight of that. And the people, you know what, the reception of the people is starting to really reflect that. So can we kind of work on that stuff? No, just pass trillions of dollars of spending, and don't worry about inflation. It's transitory. It'll fix itself, right? Just don't pay attention to the people showing up on the streets legitimately, okay? People showing up on the sides of streets, you know, looking like a fucking freedom rally. This is Virginia, by the way. Not that far from Washington, D.C., where a lot of people who work in Washington, D.C., who you remember vote for Democrats at like a 95% clip, a lot of those people just live, okay, and commute to and from work from. They're turning out like this. They've lost the plot. Some people are starting to realize this. Ergo, why some of those blue states, even the more deeper blue states, are starting to realize that, oh fuck, we got some elections that we're going to get absolutely slaughtered from, so maybe we'll try to save face. Some people are starting to pay attention to it, but who really fucking knows at this point? If anybody's going to pick up the message. God knows the Republicans aren't. They're going to be too busy trying to fucking kick dirt on their own graves. Stupid. They should just consider hopping in at the same time. But with that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.